Hey everyone, welcome to Drawing with Waffles. Today I'm going to be drawing Honey Lemon. So when I first started the sketch, what I did was draw tiny little thumbnails. And then when I found a thumbnail that I liked, I blew it up to full size and then started sort of sketching around it, which is what you can see I'm doing here. I just added like a little bit more, little bits of detail so that I can get more of a feel of the shape and the pose that I am going for. So the best part about starting with thumbnails is you get to see the silhouette, and if the silhouette isn't strong, then usually the sketch won't look quite as great when you finish it. I noticed later that the silhouette wasn't quite right even after doing the thumbnail, so I had to change it up a little bit. I moved her arms to different locations. You'll see that later, but yeah, the silhouette really just helps you focus on the pose and not all the details of the character, so you can actually create a silhouette of any character or just like a stickman silhouette and then blow it up and create a character around it. You don't have to focus on what character you're going to draw, you just get to worry about the pose. However, if you do know what character you're going to draw, you can put a little bit more personality into the silhouette before blowing it up. And then here, when I'm starting the second sketch layer, I realized I really don't like where those hands are. While it is a cute and, you know, really cutesy pose, because she's like covering her face like hee hee hee, it wasn't what I was looking for, and it was covering a little bit too much of her face than I was willing to cover up, you know? So that's why you see I skipped the hands and like skipped down to the body and started drawing the body, because I really wasn't sure of where I wanted to put the hands, and then I got back to that later. So then on a second sketch layer, I lowered the opacity to about 37%, used the same color I was using for the second sketch layer, and started sketching out the hands and the arms and where I wanted them to be, and decided to be like holding a cell phone and also reaching down and using her purse, because, I don't know, I won't tell you why if you don't know why. Spoilers! Anyway, once I decided I did like the new arms, then I went over again with the second sketch layer and darkened them all up, so I was ready to line art. I also flipped the canvas a couple times just to make sure that the balance was correct, and then instead of starting the line art, which would have saved me a little bit of time, I just started shading because, you know, I was a little stressed at the moment. So shading is a fun thing, especially since I knew it wasn't gonna like end up in the final picture. It's kind of just like, you know, like I said, a stress reliever thing, and I was just like making it pretty, you know. It's like telling your brain like, let's just slow down, take some time, and have a little bit of fun instead of pushing yourself to do things all the time. You know, sometimes it's okay to take a break. And this time when I started the line art, I didn't start with her face, which is what I usually start with. I started with the helmet. Not entirely sure why I said that, but I just felt like pointing it out. When I was looking at references of Honey Lemon, I realized her eyebrows are very, very straight, and they're like almost the same width all the way across till they get to the very end when it finally tapers. And I thought that was interesting, you know? Not all Disney characters have those same eyebrows, so I had to make sure I incorporated that. I'm not sure if I've done this yet in the video, but I think at the end of the sketch, after I finished the second sketch layer, I was really trying to incorporate her long, skinny, crazily skinny legs that she has. So even after I attempted to draw super skinny legs, I still had to go back, select the legs, and then elongate them again. And that's when she finally started looking like Honey Lemon. I'm like, I never draw tall, skinny supermodel types. I'm always drawing like the shorter, stubbier people, which is what I like to draw just personally. So I found it really difficult to draw tall, skinny people since I'm not as experienced with it. So it took a few attempts, but I think I finally got the right width skinniness for Honey Lemon. Yeah. While I'm on the subject of skinny things, also hands. Since someone's taller and skinnier, usually their hands are skinnier and longer, like the fingers are longer. So I had to like try and incorporate that, which I don't think I succeeded as well. I think she still has kind of little short, stubby hands, which, it's okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but, you know, just something to be mindful of, I suppose. I mean, at least the hands look like hands and not feet, because then I'd be very, very self-conscious about this drawing. I should also probably make a note about her hair. Like, Honey Lemon's hair is not quite as long as I drew it. I did exaggerate the long flowiness of her hair, just because it's a lot of fun to draw long hair, and I felt like it, and I thought it just really, you know, conveyed the action of the drawing, just with her hair and the flowiness, and it's just like, That's why. That's really why. That's about it. Yeah. Sorry, I don't really have an intellectual reason. It was just, you know, spur of the moment thing. Oh yeah, so I know I just finished doing the line art for the legs, but I did want to address one thing, and that is when you're doing legs or something that's longer and flowier like hair, so like hairs and legs, things with like long straight lines, what you want to do with the line art is take your tablet and just draw a long stripe, just like, you know, long strokes, and then if it doesn't turn out right, hit the undo button and just keep attempting. You might have noticed that when I was filming the line art for the legs, but when you do it, just keep attempting at the strokes, and if it doesn't look right, undo it. Don't like try to use little choppy strokes. That's not good. You want one long swoop and try to get the right shape, and if it doesn't look right the first time, that's when you undo it. I mean, I still do occasionally because I'm a little lazy, but sometimes I'll just trace really slowly for the leg, like trace my sketch that I really like. So I'll just go slowly, but that ends up making the leg look a little bumpy and a little weird, and since the leg's more organic and smooth, it's a lot better to just try the long swoop. I don't know how else to describe it. I hope you catching my drift. Yeah, anyway, so now we're doing the coloring. I've pretty much talked over the entire thing, but it's okay, I do some shading, so it's a pretty long section of the video. So before I start coloring, I, off camera, make a nice color key. Usually I don't put too much effort into the pose, that's more experimental, and just to get the colors out there so that I can color swatch the colors. Yeah, colors. So then I'll just throw that up in the top corner, so that's why there's a little tiny honey lemon up in the corner. And then I'll take the colors from that. When it came to her leggings, well, I guess it's like a bodysuit that she wears under the rest of the outfit. I realized that there's like a texture to it. It's almost like a fishnet tights over a spandex costume. That's what the kind of texture looks like. So I went in and drew all of the little textures, waffly textures. Yeah, so I had to hand draw all that because I didn't really feel like using it like a texture off the internet because, I don't know, it's almost cheating. Not really. I mean, I wouldn't call it cheating, but I feel like drawing them all in. By the time I got to the legs after I did the arms, I was getting a little lazy, so you can see this a little. It's not perfect, but I still like the way it turned out overall. And then also her shoes have that same texture as her bodysuit, so I had to add it to that as well. But I realized the shoes were like a slightly different color and a little bit more reflective, so I adjusted accordingly. And then I also noticed that her purse isn't just all those little spheres going around the whole thing. There's actually like a leather stripe that goes around too, so I decided to add that to the background spheres. I didn't add it to the front because I thought it'd be a little bit too much trouble and you can't really notice except that I'm pointing it out, so just forget I said it. And then once I had all the base colors already added, I was able to go in and shade it since I'm kind of in a shading mood, even though I don't usually shade. I feel like doing it now. So there's a bunch of shading to her armor, and I made it shiny, and I also shaded her hair, and her dress, and her helmet, and everything, basically. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It took me about, I think, almost 2 hours to draw this entire picture, which is a little bit long for me. I've always been kind of a fast drawer. I think that mostly has to do with all the colors she has in her outfit. Like, there's so many colors, like the random orange that's up on her helmet, and I was like, well, wait, you need orange? Okay, let me go get that color. And it was like, why do you have so many colors? It just feels so crazy. Like, the last few characters I drew all had like very simple color scheme with like 2 or 3 colors max. So it was a little bit overwhelming just for all the colors, so if you're gonna draw a Big Hero 6 character, I wouldn't start with Honey Lemon just because there's so much going on. Like, her outfit's crazy, and then there's all those little circles. She was really fun to draw, but it was a little exhausting. I'll just point that out. And then one of the final touches of this picture was adding, well, the visor and then the buttons on her purse. And then I also made, I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty subtle. I made the little buttons that are closest to her fingers glowing a little bit, so it's like she's pushing those buttons. I don't know if it carried well into the final drawing, but I tried. And then here's the finished illustration! I hope you enjoyed watching me draw Honey Lemon from Big Hero 6. If you'd like, you can let me know in the comments who your favorite Big Hero 6 character is. Because there's like 6 to choose from, and yeah, one of them has to be your favorite. There must have been one that you just related to the most. And I'd like to know which one that is. I mean, I like Baymax a lot. Yeah, so let me know which one's your favorite. Thank you guys for watching again. I'll see you guys next week. If you'd like, you can check out the video I drew last week, which was Hero and Baymax. I colored my old sketch. And then also, you can check out my Big Hero 6 playlist of all the Big Hero 6 characters I drew. Okay, thanks. Hope you all have a delicious evening full of waffles. Bye!